So you may be wondering, what exactly is Closers? Closers is a online MMO where basically these are a bunch of anime characters and they're really fast paced. These skills actually expresses the personality of each character. This is a game where anyone can easily unleash super fast action. Closers in general tends to have so much information to cover, and because of this, it's hard to know where to actually start or to go from where you are now. Due to this, I decided to create this guide to help players that need this assistance and advice to keep moving forward, and especially to make your character as strong as ever. Please keep in mind that the guides that are in this channel is specifically for Code Closer server private server. Things may be different here compared to the officials. If you still want to watch, then you can, since it may be different, but things may be similar in comparison. If you have any questions, remember to not hesitate to ask in the comments down below, as I know this can be overwhelming for anyone. Let's go ahead and begin the video. Now, you may be actually wondering, what's the first thing you should do? When you create your character, you get rewards of your own through the first quest. This quest gives you a box filled with goodies. It'll give you a Zenith set package, J potion that gives 50% extra credit and item bonus, consumables, a costume package which contains 4 pieces, talisman, a 3-star effect, and 3 gear boxes. The reason I mention this is because you need to pay close attention to the 3 gear packages they give you in the beginning. Do not open it until you reach level 70 or 75. I say these because as you progress, you'll be given a buff device enhancement, which for a limited time only, it allows you to wear equipment that's 5 levels higher than your current level. Now, as you may know already, each character has a different type of ability. Some characters are physical, others are magical or hybrid. Let's go ahead and take a look at the boxes they actually give you in the beginning. So let me go through these characters. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete the character just to show you what I'm actually talking about. Alright, so as you can see, the first thing you are going to go through is the actual tutorial of the game. You have to complete it. Unfortunately, there is no way you're actually able to skip the tutorial. The tutorial must be completed no matter what. Even if you have completed this at least once, you still have to go through it. As you can see, if you follow whatever is said on the top steps, you're able to be given a certain amount of credits every time you complete it. You have the option whether to not use the special move or not, because your character is able to still one-shot the boss. But due to the fact that the missions above are able to give you actual credits every time you complete it, it is recommended that you do so. Every character in the beginning has a different area. Wolf Dogs and Black Lambs both have Gangman District, however the atmosphere may be a little bit different compared to each other. Now let's go ahead and complete this mission so we can obtain this box that I was actually speaking of. The first thing you're going to notice is you're going to see these help options here. Honestly, it would be a lot to read all of this, especially considering that most of this is literally in Korean right now. It has yet to be translated, so it is best to just go ahead and skip these and go ahead and go through the missions. This is a costume box. It is permanent. You will be given a set for your equipment for your character. And this is the box that I was specifically talking about in the beginning of the video, and it is called New Recruits All-in-One Briefcase. As you can see, there's a list of things here that you can actually obtain, and a lot of it is useful, so make sure to use it when you need to. Now let's go ahead and open the box. First, let's open the costume box. This is permanent. Now as you can see here, it says it cannot be repackaged. And it says account bound. Every time you see a costume piece that says account bound, or that it cannot be repackaged, that automatically tells you that it cannot be moved to another character in your account, nor it can be traded to another character from someone else's account. Now, let's go and talk to this NPC really quick. As you can see, he gives you a pet mission. Now, you're gonna have to talk to another NPC in order to give you this pet. They give you a pet rename ticket. Basically, honestly, they're pretty much nickname tickets, not really a rename, due to the fact that you're basically given a default name, which is the Wolf Dog pet box, which is the one that I chose. In order to rename your pet, you simply press B, and you would go to details, and you go to rename pet on the top, and then you type in the name you want to have it as. So I'll just put in something random. And there you go. Now, let's go ahead and open this box. This is used for MP recovery. The only time you should really be using the MP recovery capsules is usually around the beginning, especially around level 40 and maybe around level 70, because usually when you're lower level, your mana will decrease a significant amount. However, once you are level capped and you have decent stats, you will no longer have to use these. You could literally discard these. Now, the thing about mana, there's something you really need to know really quick that I should tell you. A character named Jay, that I'm going to go ahead and show you, he has literally no mana whatsoever. His mana is all in HP pretty much. So he would not count towards this whole thing. So if you only main Jay and you only play the Jay character, you literally would never have to worry about the MP capsules. Always discard them if you main Jay. And it's also because the fact that you cannot move the MP capsules over anyways to another character. Now here is the HP recovery capsule. Obviously you will be needing this a lot more than you would for the MP recovery. Eventually you will run out of these and they will become useless as you progress further, because your HP will increase and 20% extra HP will definitely not be enough to regenerate your character's health. Let's go ahead and look at the Zenith costume box, which is 15 days. I usually do not open this box until I know for sure that I will level cap this character, or I'm close to level capping this character in one day. The reason why is because this is a limited time box, obviously, as you can tell, based on the title itself, which is 15 days. Let's go ahead and open the box. If you just open the box already, I recommend that you take advantage that you have it right now and level your character as quickly as possible, because as you can see, there's 3 stars on these pieces. And what it means, with the more stars there is, which the maximum is 3 star, you'll be given more tuning options, and you'll also be giving a set effect. I actually have an entire costume guide if you want to know more about costumes, but let me go ahead and show you the basics really quick. So now that you are given this, you're able to change your character's illustration. You're also able to change your character's town motion. You're also able to change your character's effect. As you can see, your character is now glowing. And now you can actually make your character lighter because of the Zenith set. Enhancement glow, you will only be able to have this option until you enhance your equipment. You will be able to use these special effects towards your weapon. However, as of right now, do not worry about that. Now, there's actually sound, which is a voice preview pretty much, voice for your character. Now because of this set, you're able to change your character's voice.
이 힘이 절 일깨워줬어요. 전 싸우겠어요. 평화를 위해.
As you can see, there's a package. And remember that this is in the town tab, so you're able to use the package. And you'll see what I mean by that.
이 힘. 그래요. 전 다시
As you can see,
태어나거든요.
now that you put on the package, you were already given everything that were in the options. If you were to not click this, you would have to go specifically to each part and put them on. But since you clicked the package, your character literally has the illustration, obviously the town motion, the effect, and the light, and of course the sound. Now let's go to operational zone. Everything is the same. There's an illustration. However, there's a combat motion, which means when you're in a dungeon, your character will fly, and of course do a different animation when you start the dungeon, and of course when you finish the dungeon. Now you would click where your character would have that on, and of course the effect while you're in the dungeon, and the skill effects. Now as you can see, this is the light as well for operational zone, which is obviously in the dungeon. And of course enhancement glow is what you'll worry about later. And of course here's the sound while you're in the dungeon as well. Now as you can see, there's a package section. Unfortunately you cannot have it, and the reason why is because you do not have a frame. And the frame that I am talking about, it would be located here in the frame section. But due to the fact that you do not have that, your character will not be able to wear the package. And the only way you would be able to get this frame is if you were to craft the Zenith set. Not even buying it will give you the frame. You have to craft it. 6 pieces. And you would get this through the achievements, under the item section for costume. As you can see, there's Dark Command, which is also a 3-star rare set. There's Cybernetic, and then there's Zenith, and then Fallen Knight. Zenith and Fallen Knight are pretty much the same set. However, Fallen Knight is darker version, and then Zenith is the lighter version. And then Draconian. Shining Star and Solomon are both unique sets. Those are costumes that give you, of course, better stats, and also they give you more options. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm actually talking about with your character being in the dungeon using the Zenith set.
행복할 생각이 없으시다면 저도 싸우겠어요.
Now, as you can see, her beginning animation was different from when I was in the tutorial. It is different. Now, you can see, usually in the tutorial she was running on her feet, but now that I actually have this set equipped with everything on there, she is now floating. As you can hear, based on the sound of her voice, that was also equipped, and her voice has been changed. Now remember, you only have this for 15 days, so I recommend that you level your character as quickly as possible so you can take advantage. But if you do know that you do not have the time to level up your character quickly, then use the rare set package at a later date.
하실 분 안 계시겠죠?
As you can see, my Olivia has a different auto animation as soon as you finish the dungeon. Let's go ahead and talk about the all-in-one talisman 1-day bot. It takes 3 days to level cap your character, or even less if you actually stay on and do not take breaks and you wish to get this character done ASAP. And they give you 3 talisman boxes and they only last 1 day. You could literally use this throughout the entire time you are leveling your character. And honestly, personally, I would use this at a later time when you're actually needing to grind for things. However, if you are in a rush, you can go ahead and use this, as it does give you bonus credits and of course things that increase your attack speed, movement speed, and of course your total magic and physical power, skill cooldown, skill cost reduction. Unfortunately, you cannot right click it again, but you're gonna have to keep this in your inventory in order for it to be in effect. Now here is a effect accessory that you can have, and it's called Arena's Phase Wings box, which is 15 days. Let's go ahead and open that. You are now given an effect that lasts 14 days, and of course it is account bound, which means you cannot move this to your bank. It gives you really good tunings at A rank, which is total magic power, magic crit damage bonus, airstrike crit damage bonus. Now please keep in mind, depending on your character's type, it'll automatically give you the right type that you need for your character. So let's say you're playing a physical character. You would open this box and it'll give you a total physical power, physical crit damage, and airstrike critical damage. That's basically how this works. Now, this is Olivia's heart cookie that you are given. Pretty much, as you can see the skill here, empowered state. Every character has this. When you are given this and you use this thing, your character's awakening will be able to reset automatically and you will be able to use the skill as soon as possible. Now if you wish to use this, you can either, while you're in a dungeon, open the inventory and right click on this, or drag it over to your consumables and you can use it here. This is another Celibe's Fortune Prayer. This will obviously reduce your skill down and of course reduce your skill cost. This is Jay's Fresh Veggie Juice, and this gives you bonus credits, found item bonus, bonus XP, all by 50%. This is the most useful consumable throughout this entire box. As you can see with these are obviously not able to be moved through the account bank, but it can be moved to the account bank by using something called Grummary's Dimensional Box. Grummary Dimensional Boxes are actually earned throughout other dungeons throughout the game. You can skip over if you actually want to know specifically where you can get these Grummary Dimensional Boxes. The Dual Recovery Capsule as well as the Jay's Veggie Juice are things that I would actually recommend that you would transfer over to your bank. The reason why is because bonus credits and found item bonus and of course XP are all useful. However, 50 will not be enough for your newly created character. I recommend to use the Jay's Veggie Juice once you get further throughout your character, if this is the only character you have. However, this is just an alternate character and you wish to not really focus too much on them, you can always move this to your bank and you can have it for your main character. Now, this is the 3 equipment boxes that I was actually speaking of in the beginning. There's the physical amp set, magical amp set, and the hybrid amp set. If you know specifically what type your character is, I recommend that you go ahead and remove the other 2 and discard these. Now that you've actually discarded them, you need to put this box into your character's specific bank. Do not open this box until you reach level 70 or 75. The enhancement buff allows you to actually wear your equipment that is obviously 5 levels.
드리겠습니다. 사냥터지기 팀.
명령 확인. 하이 윈체스터 출동합니다. 조금만 기다려줘. 슈에.
As you go ahead and create your character, you'll see that you have a list of characters to choose from in this login screen. Now, obviously, you can choose a character and create your IGN. However, let's go ahead and take a look at the characters, and if you look at the top left, you'll actually be able to see their skill previews, what their potential may be. One may be faster than the other, one does more range, and of course they all have different kinds of weapons, and of course their own backstory. As you can tell, they all have different teams, and with different teams, there's different areas. However, for Wolf Dogs, which is the second team, and the first one, which is Black Lambs, both of them have the same area. As for Wild Hooter and Radis, both of them require you to do the mission. For Wolf Dogs and Black Lambs, you can simply skip them. I still recommend that you don't do that, because you will be given skill points, which is used for your character's skills, in order to do damage and increase the skill points for that skill. The more skill points you have, the higher the level of each skill will be. And once you unlock certain levels for the skills, the skill may change, passives will be added to it. Some characters are of course more expensive than the other. I stated this in past videos where Bai, which is in Wild Hooter, and Mirai and Unha, which is in Radis, all 3 of those characters are the most expensive in the game. If you wish to play the character, and you do want to go for cosmetics, then you gotta be aware that this character will be very pricey. You can skip missions for Wild Hooter, but the problem will be is once you hit around level 60 or all the way up to like 70, you will actually struggle with your leveling. Because once you hit level 80, eventually you'll unlock Hunter's Night mission, despite skipping missions for Wild Hooter. But it'll take forever to actually get to level 80 because of the missions you skip. As for Radis, you have to do the missions. You have no choice, you don't have the ability to skip. If you skip, your character will not be promoted, you will not be able to progress through different areas, and you will not be able to unlock different areas in the hubs. You have to do the missions in order to actually promote or evolve your character. Please keep in mind that you should get your skills to at least level 10 as of right now while you are leveling your character. The more skill points you get, be sure to look at the percentage and damage, and whichever you see that is the most, go for it first. However, I recommend that once you get those skills to level 10, do not worry about leveling them, go for the passives. And based on this footage here, these are the passives that you should actually be going for. The raw damage for critical damage, the attack damage, especially if you're playing a character like Violet because they rely on basic attack. And of course, airstrike, back attack, and chase damage increases. Those are necessary. Remember that once you get them all leveled up, at least get those to level 5 or maybe level 10 for the passives, at least for now, due to the fact that you don't have enough skill points to level cap every single passive. But always keep in mind that as you progress and you are not happy for what you have right now, just keep in mind that you're always going to have enough skill points at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, just go for those temporarily and then eventually you'll get them all up. Hey, if you're wondering when your characters actually get promoted, specifically the teams for Black Lambs, Wolf Dogs, and Wild Hooter teams, they actually are promoted around levels 19 42, 67, 85, and 90. I say 90, but not all characters have this level 90 promotion yet. It's yet to release for all characters, at least at the time of this recording. For these 3 teams, it would be called their 5th promotion. It has 4 names for all teams. Also, about the 4th team's promotion, Radis. Radis is around the beginning, as you go through missions and as well as areas in Hunter's Night missions. They only have 4 promotions for Radis, so because of that, it would be considered their 4th promotion at level 90. You need around at least 8 million or higher combat power to at least be able to run the 4th or 5th promotion, depending on your team, dungeon. It's called Solomon's Trial. In order to unlock this, you must complete all main missions for all teams and characters that has the promotion. Every promotion quest you complete as you level up, you'll be given costumes and some benefits for your character like skill books. Before the final promotion for all teams, the costume you obtain as you get promoted is only temporary, but can actually be crafted in Code Fusion tab with a certain amount of credits and warp fragments. So don't worry if you wish to keep the set. As for the final promotion, it is permanent set. You'll also be given skill books when promoted as well, but remember though, that final promotion costume cannot be bank shared. As you obtain promotions for your character, you'll unlock skills and passives. At level 67 for Black Lambs, Wolf Dogs, and Wild Hooter, their skill change significantly than when you were leveling them in the beginning. There's something called X skill. Once you activate this, you need to unlock a certain level to upgrade the 3 specific X types. There's even a new special move that would require you to upgrade it to X skill to deal more damage to the enemy. This is where the character's true potential lies under. You may think the character is slow and boring as you level, but once you reach level 67 and hit Special Agent, you're definitely going to experience how they truly feel, which can help you determine who you want to decide on maining.
잊혀지지 않게 잘 따라오세요.
Pretty much in any existing MMO, you're able to enhance your equipment to become stronger. Maybe even a bit of more tweaking options to change here and there. I'll be showing you how to do these things. If you notice, you'll be given a side mission pretty much instantly with your newly created character. As you complete these missions, you'll notice that you're able to tune your equipment, enhance, and even dismantle. You can dismantle at any matter mixer machine located in any hub. Simply right-click on any gear piece and press salvage. You can even select the rarity type of the equipment, so you won't have to go through the hassle of right-clicking each equipment piece into the slots to dismantle them. In order to enhance your equipment, you're always going to need an item called Gear Booster Fuel. There's never going to be enough of these. You're going to need a ton of them in order to enhance your equipment. There's many ways to get them as well. You can craft them at any matter mixer under the consumable tab or the Code Fusion tab. You can also buy them at the vending machine under the Contribution Consumable tab. Now, the Code Fusion tab specifically will require you to have something called Warp Fragments, which pretty much allows you to craft anything listed there. Warp Fragments can be earned by running literally any dungeon throughout the game. The only one where it wouldn't count would be the training program where you can learn how to play your character. These NPCs are located in any hub. Also, I mentioned contribution. What is contribution? These golden medals are your contribution points. You can also earn up to 2,000 per week if you overgrind. Contribution is earned by running daily missions. These daily missions are located at the top of your character's HP and mana bars. The third icon, called Union Watch, will give you contribution when you complete certain dungeons. If you max out though, you can always exchange items for contribution medals in the vending machine 5 tabs over, and you'll see the contribution exchange tab. There is a reason why you need contribution points. Contribution points are so beneficial for your character. There are so many useful items on here, and like I said, you can enhance in this game. And because of enhancing, you're not only going to need the gear booster fuel that I mentioned earlier in the video, you're going to need something else, gear booster fortifier. And there's so much to it for enhancing that I have an entire video specifically covering enhancing, if you want to check that out. If you go to the vending machine for the contribution store, there's so many options that you can go from. The reason why I say this is because remember how I said you have to go 5 tabs over for the contribution exchange? Before the exchange tabs, you'll see that there's so many other options where you can buy things as well using contribution points. Now, if I had to tell you what exactly to go for, I'm only going to tell you what you're going to need. I will explain what it is further in the video, or like I said, the things related to enhancing, like the gear booster fortifier, things like that. It basically prevents you from failing, let's just say that. And if you want to know more about it, you can go to the enhancing video that I have posted here. Now, if I were to tell you what to buy, go for 10 gear booster fortifiers. Alpha equalizers, they reset your tuning count. So remember how I mentioned there's tuning? There's something called Alpha Equalizer, which resets your tuning count. Every gear piece or costume piece, yes, you can tune costume pieces as well. Every costume or gear piece has a maximum number of tunings. Costumes always have 4, a maximum of costume tunings. However, for the costume tunings, you will not need Alpha Equalizers. They do not work for that. Alpha equalizers are specifically meant for equipment, while there's something else that is meant for costumes, which is called performance fabric relaxers. And if you want to know all about costumes, I also have a video specifically for that. However, there may be some things that are outdated due to the fact that we recently got a hair dye system update, and as well as the UI that we're able to choose from multiple UIs at once, which was unfortunately not mentioned in that video due to the fact that it has yet to release in CC at the time. Your equipment is, it has a tuning option on the very top, a percentage. Every equipment has a percentage on the very top, that there's certain tiers for it, meaning that you'd have to go on a gear, and unfortunately I'm going to have to end up using this just for the purpose of the video, because I kind of need them, but I'll go ahead and use it for the video. I'll get more eventually anyways. So you would right click it, and as you can see for this one right now that I just put into the slot, this is literally a random gear piece, do not worry, this is useless, you don't really need this at all. I'm just showing this as an example. The percentage on the top right, it says fair, and the one that I have equipped says superior, 88%. Now as you can tell, the higher the percentage, the better it is, and of course, the higher the percentage, the tier will change. There's fine, of course fine again, superior, average, poor. Yep, there's poor, average, fine, and superior. So there's 4 tiers. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure you know this, like, higher numbers always mean that is better. So superior, pretty much 90 through 100 is good. 85, sometimes I go there for 80. If I know I don't have enough materials, I will do it. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try to do that and hope that I actually get 100%. Oh shoot, I just skipped over. See, and also when you're doing this, you don't want to go so fast or else you'll mess up because you went too quick. Sometimes you'll get a better percentage even though you skipped over too quickly, but at the same time you don't want to risk it. And it only costs 5 million and 1,000 contribution points. However, 1,000 is a good amount. So okay, so another thing I require you to craft to buy is 10 origin chip boxes, all 25. You are going to need these. These are very necessary. If you want to know more about origin chips and you have no clue what I'm talking about with origin chips, I have a video for that as well. I will not actually cover this in this entire video because I literally have another video covering specifically everything about origin chips. So if you want to look at that and you want to know everything about it, then you can check it out. They're basically sockets for the equipment that you can use, and if you look at it here, you can see there's 3 different color slots, and 2 here for modules, and 3 for the amplifier, and then 2 for every 3 trinkets here. Modification tool, I do recommend to get it. If you do not have any modification tools, I recommend to get it, and that is also specifically meant for chips. So if you want to know more about chips, remember that the video's there. So scroll down. No, do not craft the mission drives because you should not be resetting. These are meant to reset dungeons. Do not buy these. You can craft them in Purification. Fly King's Wish, if you literally don't have any Fly King Wish, then you can buy them. But these are meant for close to endgame content. These are not really necessary unless you're trying to complete a mission to unlock raid. However, they do give it to you as you complete the missions, and not only that, these do kind of also give you a good amount of credits, I suppose. However, I never run them, but I do know some people that do. So it's up to you if you want to craft these. I'll cover it later in the video. Here we have fast dual recovery capsule. If you literally have no sort of healing potions, then you can buy them. These are actually meant for defense. Strength drink and stat juice, you usually get that a lot as you level and progress through the game, so you don't have to worry about that. Quality assurance seals, those are meant to seal your equipment or costume piece, and you can transfer it over through the bank or trade it to another character, or seal your costume or equipment piece and put it onto the market. You are going to need a lot of seals as you go through the game. There will never be enough seals if you do a lot of trades and things like that, or if you buy a lot of costumes and things like that. So if you want to buy these seals, that is up to you. I only buy them when I absolutely need them, so it is up to you whether you wish to buy them or not. Maid service and gardening, these are housing benefits, and I'll cover that later in the video. Here's the network interference device. These are basically meant to do a shout out to the entire server if you want to buy something, sell something, or trade something, or recruit for the guild or crew that you're in, or look for parties, or host a party. That is all that the network interference device is really used for. Unfortunately for Code Closers guidelines, you cannot speak in the network chat, but thanks to the fact that the global chat has now been added to Code Closers, which is a custom feature in this server, you are able to talk to anyone in the global chat. So yeah, if you want to do some trades and things like that, use a network interference device. That is where you're mainly going to find players to trade with. Speaking of that, there's also the Code Closers Discord that you should join, and that is pretty much buying, selling, and trading. That is mainly where you're going to find that kind of stuff. The forum can help too. Sometimes you'll get messages here and there, but rarely. But it is helpful. Earlier is the Wargame Pass. If you ran out of runs for the day for War Games and you are not satisfied with your run, you would use this ticket to reset the entry, because there's a maximum of 3 entries for War Game. Now here we have repackaging permit for epic gear and unique costume. You're always going to need this if you want to transfer or buy something from another player. If your equipment no longer has repackaging time. So if your equipment is down to 0, that means you cannot trade it over. You have to get repackaging in order to get it back up to 1 at least, so you can seal it over. same thing goes for costume. If my Shining Star pieces were down to 0, you would use this unique costume and seal it over. And unfortunately, you're going to need more than one just to repackage the equipment or the unique costume. Cores usually require you to have 10 for the core, and then modules would always be 8. Now, as for the unique costumes, I have yet to figure that out because I have never actually done it, but I'm assuming it could be around 5 to 10. It should be around there. So, yeah. Now here you can get contribution for the costumes. This is literally solely meant for looks for the Twilight Conqueror phase wings, and it's per character. It is literally 90,000 contribution points, so that's going to take a while for you to get if you want to get this. Vengeance Bladed Arm and Vengeance Crown Horn, those are 2 accessories that you will need for your character. They're pretty cheap now due to the fact that events came in, and the only reason these are really hard to get is because it's 45,000 contribution points, so each. So that's gonna be a lot. Now, sure, there's those 3 things, but the main thing you need to focus on for contribution, literally, is the sealed backlight. Sealed backlight is basically the effect in your character, and you can level it up as you progress using certain materials. And like I said, I have an entire video covering things about costumes. If you want to check that out, you can. And to unlock it, as you can see, because it's locked here, in order to unlock it, you have to use the materials at least once, and then it'll be unlocked. And once it's unlocked, you're able to level up your backlight all the way up to level 10. Now, here's the contribution for weapons. These are just mainly for looks. These are not for stats. If you wish to collect weapons for your character, you can do that here. Now here's a special tab. This is very important for the special tab because special is pretty much a really good section for you to use your contribution points on. The costume fusion fiber is literally meant for the backlight that I mentioned earlier. That is literally all this material is meant for. So you're gonna have to collect a bunch if you wish to keep this for your character, so you can level up your backlight. Now, shape memory device. Remember how I said there's tuning, there's enhancing. For equipment, you're eventually gonna have to transcend your equipment, and you can see there's stars in the bottom. On the bottom left of each equipment piece, right here, just like the triggers and these 3 trinkets, I had to transcend them. So if you transcend them, this star will show up. And you will need the shape memory device if your tunings are really good, and if your enhancing is really good as well. So if you wish to not get rid of that after transcending it, because it does reset all your progress if you transcend it, you will have to use the shape memory device in order to prevent that from happening. Now here's the Grimoire dimensional box that I actually mentioned earlier. You can get that from here in the contribution store. And here's the skill books that you can get. Personally, if you really need these skill books, then you can get them. Since I do know that if you do skip missions, which honestly I don't recommend you do that as you level up, if you do skip missions, you can use this and buy them here instead, because you will be lacking skill books if you do so. Now here's a contribution exchange that I mentioned earlier. You will be getting a bunch of medals. There's different kinds of medals. 500 contributions can be earned, 150. Just by crafting this and having enough materials from each dungeon. I'm pretty sure if you're new to the game, you literally have none of this because this is in later end game content. So yeah, there's different kinds of variety for contribution, and that is why I recommend that you stack and save up on contribution points. Now, as you can see with your newly created character, you'll see a green mission here. It is called New Closer Souvenir. Claim New Closer Souvenir. Once that's completed, you'll be given a box with things that are used to support your character actually as you level up. So depending on your level, you're able to open these boxes. As you can see, you'll be given another box. And here they also give you the accessories. Is random, as you can see. And this is a box where you would get by running random dungeons, and you can stack on these. I recommend to do so. And usually when you see this blue icon or this border around an item, that clearly means that an item is only temporary. And as you can see, I'm hovering over this capsule and it is also highlighted green. So when you do see that and you didn't notice the blue spot, you'll automatically know, due to the fact that it's highlighted green. When hovering over it, it'll tell you that it's temporary. As you can see with these two screenshots that I took, those notifications depend on what is actually in your inventory and how long something lasts. When you log in, you will be given a notification. You have the option to turn it off. You can use that as a reminder just in case you forget. Now you will be given another side mission as you complete the missions, the main quest. Around 3 or 2 missions, once you complete those, you'll be given this. And this is the crafting and salvaging side mission. This is basically teaching you what you can do with crafting and salvaging. Now, they clearly give you some temporary equipment that you cannot wear. It is only used for the missions specifically. They're telling you to craft something. You go to any matter mixer. Based on the materials they give you, this is what you have. So let's go to mission, and then you'll craft this. On the mission tab, the very top. This is basically teaching you how to craft the equipment. You cannot wear this at all whatsoever, even after you reach level cap, because level 99 does not even exist in the game. Level cap is level 90, so you are not allowed to wear this whatsoever. So this is pretty much useless. Now let's go ahead and talk to the NPC. Now we can salvage. So you press S and you right click on the equipment. You also have the option to click on the rarity type, and then you click select rarity and things will automatically be put into the slots. So you won't have to go through the hassle of right clicking everything. As you can see, I just completed the mission and I was given the red wastewater, which is used for the next part of the mission. As you level up, I do recommend that you go ahead and dismantle things as you progress. That's if you do have equipment that's good to wear as it is already for your next missions. If you do not have anything good as of right now, try and replace by running dungeons or completing missions and get the equipment you need in order to progress. And then once you get a bunch of other equipment, I recommend you dismantle those. There's never going to be enough materials for your character in order to go through the end game stuff. You will be needing the materials. That is why I also recommend that you do not skip missions. Some of them you can just skip over if you wish, but I do recommend regardless that you actually go through the missions. You'll obviously get a notice with housing depending on your level, and around level 15 and 16 you'll be given this pop-up. I'll be talking about housing in a moment. Now you go here to the NPC and you continuously complete missions, but let's go ahead and go over how to actually enhance. Now you're to just grab a fuel. If you already have one through the bank, you can just grab one. However, when you're actually leveling, you will not be able to get any kind of fuel, so you'll have to end up waiting until you're able to have some. But as of right now, due to just for the video purpose only, I will pull out a gear boost of fuel and you can use it. Remember that there are other ways you can actually get gear booster fuels that you can use for your character. So you could right click on any piece of equipment. The gear booster fuel will obviously increase the required amount. It increases to 2. The higher the level, the more it'll require. If you have a +0, it'll just be 1. All the way up until +9, the materials will increase after that. So auto enhance is on until enhancement is completed. Now as you can see, gear all the way up to like +4, literally just from 1 enhancement, but that's only through luck. 1 through 9 levels for enhancement can actually get you up there. Now if you go here where additives section, you'll see these 2 gear booster fortifier options. They're pretty much the same thing. One is either earned through login rewards or crafted, while the other one is bought through the bit store, which is tradable in the black market that you can sell. And they usually sell for 15 mil each for credits. Now you can go here and you can actually put in the fortifier into the slot. However, I'm going to go ahead and show you what exactly it does. Now, if you have any kind of equipment that is +14 or higher, those fortifiers will be useful for you in order to prevent you from failing. Here you have Lucky Gear Booster Fuel. These are mainly earned through the mileage shop, located here in the consumable tab. I do recommend that you buy these unless you do not have enough mileage points to do so. Now you can buy them through there, or you can get them through the events. And of course, as you probably know already from previous games you might have played, or literally by the name itself, event. Events means they're temporary, so let's go to the event shop tab, which is this S key here. This will not be here permanently. This will expire very soon, actually, for the time of this recording. Now, as you can see, all the way up here, you're able to buy Gear Lucky booster fuels, and you can use those. You're also able to get Gear Booster fortifiers, and of course the enhancement buff ticket. And as you can see, this is what the enhancement buff ticket does. Anything that is higher than 14, or at least 14 or higher, this buff will be used. And this is basically every time you enhance, the buff will increase. The bar on the bottom, located at the bottom when you're enhancing, and it's actually this bar here. This bar here, it says starting from +13, success rate and gain fever point when it fails. So here, every time you enhance, the fever points will increase. The buff time is actually 30 days, but due to the fact that I've had it on for a few days now, it is now currently 7 days until this expires. I am actually 98 tries into the enhancement buff, and once it goes all the way up, the bar will fill up, and once you're able to fill it up, you will no longer actually be able to use these. When this bar is filled all the way up, you no longer need Gear Booster fortifiers. However, there is a tip to that. Anything that is +13, +14, 15, or 16, you don't need to use Gear Booster fortifiers because for some reason, they have a low chance of actually failing. So you're able to enhance without using Gear Booster fortifiers, and those kinds of gear pieces will be considered fodder equipment. And you can use that to enhance, so you no longer have to worry about using fortifiers. However, you have to get lucky and actually be able to go through that without succeeding, because after you succeed, this bar will go away, and you have to reach a maximum of 250 tries. So if you wanted to go the safe route, you would have to stack up on 250 Gear Booster fortifiers to prevent failure. Or, if you don't really care and you're using fodder equipment, you can remove this and make sure that your equipment is at least plus 13 or higher, all the way up until 16 specifically. And you can use that to use it as fodder, and hopefully you do not succeed unless you're actually using that equipment, and maybe you will succeed. Speaking of enhancing, there's also boosters, and you can use these. Actually, you'll also earn them as you go through the missions. Unfortunately for plus 15, this is used mainly through events only. However, 12 and 13 and 11 even, which is not on here in the bank, but I do have it. 11 as well, and 10, which is usually you're usually given a bunch of them for 10. And you're mainly given these through your missions, and you can use them. If you're worried that your bar for the enhancement buff ticket will go away after using a booster due to the 100% success rate using a booster, you do not have to worry, because boosters do not actually affect the bar. You can just use a booster no matter what, so you don't have to worry about the buff time going away. You can also craft the enhancement buff ticket through the Code Fusion tab when you scroll down, and you will see the enhancement buff ticket. You obviously require 250 warp fragments, which is a lot, and of course 5 million credits, which actually isn't that much. Remember that you can also get gear booster fuels from the Code Fusion and fortifiers. You're going to need at least 250 fortifiers if you wish to use no kinds of fodder for equipment and just use your main gear piece in order to have a guaranteed enhancement. Once you run out of 250, you're able to actually use your enhancement buff bar without any kind of gear booster fortifiers. Now let's talk about tuning. As you can see, there's a tune tab right here. You can call these sockets, sort of, kind of like how it was in L-Sword if you did play L-Sword. You can click on any tuning option and you would need this material. And there's a specific material for that. Alright, so you go to the consumable tab, and as you can see in the very bottom of my main character's inventory, you'll see something called Advanced Tuning Plug. You're always earned by running dungeons, by completing missions. You're gonna get so many of them. As you can see, I literally have a full stack of advanced tuning plugs. These are basically used to tune your equipment. And I'll actually have a list of things that I do recommend that you have for your equipment here. Now, let me go ahead and show you what exactly I have on for my tuning to give you an example. These tunings right here, obviously you can see that they're SS grade and S grade. The S grade is actually an equipment tuning piece where you're able to choose a specific skill for your character, and the only way you would actually be able to do that is if you actually had an item called Skill D component for the equipment. Let me go ahead and show you. These can be earned obviously through the bit store or be bought through the black market, and they can also be crafted in events. Unfortunately for this event, this is not given here in the crafting, however, but in the Union Pass thing for this other part of the special event here, you can tune 8 times for any gear piece or less. Sometimes the gear piece, if it was a trigger, it would be less. And triggers are located right here in the middle of your character's profile, and those are usually earned after you go through missions and progress. So you don't have to worry about triggers right now, but I'm just giving you an idea. And what if you run out of tunings and you get something you don't want? You reach down to 0. Well, you can use an item called Alpha Equalizer, 81 through level 90 kind of equipment. And you can use that to reset any kind of equipment tuning options all the way back up to the maximum that it was originally. So if you're not satisfied, you can always use this and use that and actually hopefully get what you want. Like I said, there is a list of things that you do need for your equipment, and you may be wondering, how did I actually get SS ranking in these tunings? You can use these performance D components. They're also bought through the mileage shop, or they're gotten through events, or even some dungeons that I will actually be talking about later on through the video. And you're able to earn SS tunings. However, you can just craft regular tuning gear plugs, and you can craft these in Code Fusion tab, and you scroll down, you'll see this here, D tuning plug gear. You have a possibility of getting an SS tuning option, however it is a low chance. So you can use that, and if you really want to get SS on an equipment that is really good for your character, you can use the reset, which is the alpha equalizer, to constantly, and hopefully you'll have enough materials to get that SS tuning. But remember, you can always stick with A through S tunings. And there's also a guaranteed way to get A through S tunings pretty much. And that is by getting something called VVIP. And VVIP is actually earned through events, specifically, or bought through the BitStore. They're actually tradable, and you can sell them to other players. So if you want to buy these, or you want to look for someone that is selling bits or any kinds, things like that, you can buy them from other players. However, unfortunately, there's no other way to actually earn them. So due to the scarcity, it's always recommended that you do craft VVIP or VIP medals during events, or earn them through missions. And in order to get VVIP, you need a maximum of 90 days stacked. So let's say you got 30 days of VIP. That would not be enough for VVIP, so you would have to end up getting 3 30-day VIP medals in order to successfully achieve for VVIP. And the difference is you're going to earn more materials, more credit buffs with the VVIP. And also, the thing that is the same for both is you will be given an extra entry count for the daily missions, because there are a maximum of entries for daily quests. As you go through endgame things, the dungeons you cannot spam consistently. It's only a certain amount of time. So let's say you wanted to spam a boss, it only allows you to enter 2 times a day. But if you had VVIP or VIP, you can enter 3 times a day. However, if you go here, you can also, without VVIP or VIP, you can craft the Special Ops Support 1 day ticket, which allows you to get 1 entry per day. Or the 10-day Union Elite Training Course ticket will also give you an extra entry. This is obviously a lot more expensive than if it was Special Support 1 day. However, usually I always recommend to craft the Special Ops Support weekly, due to the fact that it gives you 15% credit bonus and XP bonus, which you are going to need. The thing about VVIP and VIP is when you tune, let's go ahead and select full tuning, which selects all options. You can also do partial tuning, which is selecting which one, but if you select all of them, it'll automatically go to full tuning. So it's going to use 3 of your gear tuning plugs, so let's go ahead and use it. As you can see, I was already given all A's. So with VIP and VVIP, you're basically guaranteed to get A through S. B and C tunings, which is usually the lowest ones. Now you may be wondering, why am I only mentioning S? Because, you know, there's also an SS tuning option. Well, Like I said, unfortunately, regular tuning through the actual NPC himself, you will not be able to have a chance to get SS. You have to use these materials, which is the D tuning plug gear, Performance D component, Splendid D component. These are also earned through Crew Dungeon. And Crew Dungeon is basically a guild that you can join with any player, and you can go to the crew room. And there's an option to run crew dungeons, and basically you have the option to go through these dungeons and get certain rewards. And as you can see here, they actually have the tuning plug things, but unfortunately you do not get all of them. You have a chance to get one. When you're near end game, you'll see that players actually have different slots unlocked that you've never actually seen on your character due to being lower level. In order to unlock this, you have to level up, and eventually you'll reach a certain level to where you're able to reach the area that actually unlocks it. Remember how in Planar Gate the missions were different in comparison to teams? The same thing will apply here. You'll be given a side mission to unlock an equipment slot, which is the amplifier. For Wild Hooters and Radis, they are different areas in the game to unlock this slot. For Wild Hooters, it's actually Riverside Skies. Radis characters, however, it is unlocked as you keep going for Radis. You don't necessarily need to know the exact mission for Radis due to the fact that as you progress, you have to complete missions. You'll get it regardless. As you're leveling and going through the main missions, and you reach level 55, you'll unlock an area called Planar Gate. Go to the hub NPC for your character and move over to that area. Please keep in mind that if you're playing a Radis character, you're always going to start at level 67. It's not automatically unlocked either. You have to run through main missions in order to unlock Planar Gate as a Radis character. Anyways, once your character unlocks his place, you'll need to go through the main missions there. Side missions are optional, but I recommend you accept those as well. If you notice, you'll be given equipment to replace the equipment you dropped from previous dungeons. Make sure to replace your 2 modules and trinkets with the equipment they hand to you. Once that's done, you'll see that 3 or 4 missions later, a quest called Exploration Team's Departure. This will give you 2 boxes you can open. You'll obtain 2 buffs I mentioned earlier in the video, which is VIP and Device Enhancement. That allows you to wear equipment 5 levels higher than your current level. Remember that I mentioned to not use this until you reach level 70 specifically for the box they give you in the very beginning after creating your character. With Planar Gate, continuously go through the missions to replace your equipment. Once those missions are done, you'll have some equipment that'll make you have around 100,000 combat power. Remember that if you reach level 70 as you were going through these missions, you might as well just go ahead and open that box that they give you in the beginning, and you'll be able to replace all the equipment you had on earlier, which will actually reach you up to probably 300 to 400k combat power. Remember that this is only temporary, this is not permanent equipment. Once that's done, you're going to have to go through these missions as quickly as possible to unlock whatever you have next for the equipment process on becoming stronger. There's something you should know about Radis characters. Unfortunately for Radis characters, they're actually not able to get the enhancement device, and the reason why is pretty much because you're already at level 67 and it doesn't really require you to do so much to get level 75. Also, the process when it comes to gearing is a lot quicker as well when it comes to completing these missions. And once you get to the next area as a Radis character, which is Gangman Evac Center, around 3 missions later, you will then be able to unlock the missions for Planar Gate. And that's the thing, for Radis, you are not able to skip any kind of mission. You have to go through them in order to progress in many different ways in the game.